Hey guys, Panther0822 here. We are gonna get back into some more Magic and deck building. Uh, so I've done two streams of this already. So I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying this. I'm hoping that you guys are finding this either helpful or just, I guess helpful is kind of the main thing. Come on. Alright. So we've got the stream up on that. I'm going to get the stream up on my other phone as well. Mainly because it's a lot easier for me to keep an eye on some things. This is a bit easy, bigger screen, a little easier to watch shit on, so. Okay. You know, I want to watch the fucking stream and not whatever the fuck it is you're trying to do. Thank you very much. So, all right, so let's get into it. So the deck I'm wanting to build is a green-black deck. That is what I'm wanting to build. The main reason I'm wanting to build this deck is because there's a Planeswalker that I really want to use. And I gotta remember which pile of cards he's in. I don't think he's in this. He is in this. Alright. There he is, right there. Garruk's Apex Predator. So this is the Planeswalker that I'm wanting to use for this deck. I've only got two of them, so we're gonna make do with what we've got. And we're gonna look through our green and black cards, see what we've got, and try and make ourselves one hell of a kick-ass black-green deck. That's what we're gonna try and do. So, he is a little expensive though. So he is a 7 cast. So, with that being what it is, we want to find some land accelerators. One of the land accelerators we can do is Elven Mystic. Elven Mystic we did last time, or we did in my wife's deck, and Elven Mystic is great because Elven Mystic is a 1 cast, 1 green, for 1/1 he taps and he adds a green to my mana pool. Good card, and for this deck concept, I'm gonna need it. The other land accelerator that I've got in green is Druid of the Cowl. So that's this guy, Druid of the Cowl. And, well, that glare is horrendous. I'm sorry, guys. I've got to do some things as far as like some lighting and some other stuff so that the glare and crap is not so bad. But anyways, Druid of the Cowl is a 1/3 for 1 green and 1 colorless, and I tap and it gives me a green Monosaurus. Good card to have. And so in my stuff, so there we go. If I also had access, I would also add Llanowar Elves and Finnhorn Elves. Llanowar Elf is a long-standing green land accelerator. It's a 1/1 green elf creature. One green brings it into play. Tap gives you one green mana source. So same thing as the Elven Mystic, just with a different name. Sorry, I ate some food. And I'm concerned I might have still have some food in my beard. So, anyways, Llanowar Elf is a long-standing card in Fantastic. Finned Horde Elf is equally as old, or potentially equally as old as Llanowar. It is also a 1/1 for one that if you tap it, it gives you a green land source. So it's another land accelerator. The other thing I would consider in this deck would also be a Birds of Paradise. Birds of Paradise tap, you can choose which land you tap the bird for. So, Birds of Paradise, fantastic card. Those are just a couple land accelerators. So, I do know that there are. Let's see here. To keep me alive, I'm thinking I'm probably going to want to keep some Archer. So these guys are a wall. They're a 2-cast, 0/5. Defender, 1 and a black, and tap. Each opponent loses a life. So it's a 0/5 wall for 2. That by itself is good, but it also has an additional ability, which is fantastic. So, we're not doing anything with blue in this deck. I have no reason for it. 12 much defender 1. Green is sacrifice, and I can draw a card. I'll look at one of those. I might think about it. Starfield. I'm not much for revealing. In this particular deck, I'm not much for revealing cards, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. However, I do want 4 copies of Netcaster Spider. Netcaster Spider is a fantastic card. Netcaster Spider, 1 green, 2 colorless. It's a 2/3. Has reach. Reach is the new terminology. I don't remember what the old one was, but reach is the ability that allows a creature to block a creature with flying. The Netcaster Spider has a really cool ability, though, that if it is actually blocking something with flying, it gets +2/+0. So it becomes a 4/3 when blocking a flyer. It's a fantastic card. I love this card. I've also got Giant Spider. Giant Spider is a 4-caster, 2/4 with reach, just good old classic card. So fantastic and good thing to go. Now I do need a win condition, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use my green as the creature base and use that as my win condition, or if I'm going to use black as my win condition, or find a win condition in both. Because that's actually a good idea, to find a win condition. Find win condition in both, so. 7/7 for 7. Power 2 or less, or I could cycle it for 2. That's actually not a bad ability. 7/7 for 7. Good solid card. Hornet Queen's fantastic. She's a rare from M15. 2/2 for 6. Flyer with Death Touch, which is fantastic. But when the Hornet comes into the battlefield, I get to put 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and Death Touch into the battlefield. I know I've only got one. I know it's rare, but it's a great card. Your creature you control gets +2/+0 and hexproof. That is an instant. Oh, Blossoming Defense. Blossoming Defense is awesome. Larger than life is a 2-cast sorcery. Target creature gets +4/+4 and gains trample until end of turn. I will think about that. Something I don't need to think about, though, is Titanic Growth. Titanic Growth is a fantastic card. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by non-green creatures. I'll think about that. That's not a bad card. It's way more than I want to spend. Alright, so green black. This is a 2/2 for 2, 1 green, 1 black. It's got 2 different abilities. I think I'm actually going to put them in there. It's a good card to have. That is blue-green. I want to stay away from blue-green. These are the special cards. These are the ones that require more than one land type to summon. Green-black, 4/4 for 5 with a lifelink. It's a good creature, I'm just not sure. Black-green, put X/1/1 black and green spirit. That's actually kind of a good card to have in this deck, so I like it. Green, black, and whites. It's a 7-cast sorcery. Choose one target creature, destroy the rest. That's actually very brutal. And yeah, okay. So I've kind of got a little bit of a hodgepodge, but at the moment, let's break it down what we've got so far. So, inner creature slots so far, we've got the Elvish Mystic, again, 1/1 for 1. That also gives me a green. We've got the Druid of the Cowl, which is a 1/3 for 2, also taps, give me green, so it's another land accelerator. Fantastic card. Kentry Invocation is a 1 green, 1 black, and I get to put an XX black green Spirit Warrior creature token onto the battlefield where X is the greatest toughness among my creatures. I like the card. That being said, I may not actually play it. Titanic Growth, definitely going in deck, is definitely there. That's the Rakshas. He's a green-black 2/2. Has 2 different abilities. I can tap a green and a black and get it +2/+2, or I can tap a green and a black and the creature gains Death Touch. If I've got the land, I could do both. Not entirely likely, but it is possible. So also in our 2-drop slot is 4 copies of Archer's Parapet. Archer's Parapet is a fantastic card. It's a 0/5 defender, 1 and a black, and I can tap, and each opponent loses a life. What's great about this card is that, say, after combat, I still have the card. I can go, all right, at the end of my turn, 1 black, 1 colorless, tap, hit him in the face for 1. Good card. The other option is after their turn, if they have attacked and this wall is still alive, at their instep, I can trigger this ability, which is a good thing. So, good way to go. Could help me limp across the finish line if necessary. So, solid card. Very solid defender. Good way to go. Netcaster Spider, again, Great card, 3 cast, 1 green, 2 colorless, 2/3 spider that can block a flyer. If it blocks a flyer, it gets +2/+0, becoming a 4/3. Fantastic card. I like the Hornet Queen, but she's expensive as crap. And Giant Spider is just a good card. So, alright. Oh, before I start digging through that, I want to come over here and I want to dig through my black stuff to see what cool black stuff we've got. Oh, I didn't really go over Garuk. So Garuk comes. He's a planeswalker that comes in for 1 green, 1 black, and 5. So he's a 7 cast. He starts with 5 loyalty. His first +1 ability is destroy another target planeswalker. That's a really good ability because as soon as they drop a planeswalker, my next turn, I do the +1 and I kill their planeswalker. The other option is because he's got that ability, is I hold it, and then I trigger him. So, his second +1 ability is put a 3/3 black beast creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. So that's his second +1. His second one is I can put a 3/3 Dork in play with Death Touch. Fantastic. Really, really solid. He's got 2 different negative abilities. -3 ability is destroy a target creature. You gain life equal to the creature's toughness. It's a really good ability because if they've got something big and scary that's gonna come and hurt me, I can do the negative ability and gain the life, which honestly could potentially save me the game. And his last ability, his -8 ability, is target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a creature attacks you, it gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. Your player gets an emblem with whenever a... Oh, okay. So basically I can give them a creature, which I don't really want to do. But the top 3 abilities by themselves are fantastic. They're a good way to go. Alright, so we've got a 1/1 for 1 Typhoid Rat. Typhoid Rat has Death Touch. Got 3 of those. Definitely want to use those. I've also got a Ruthless Ripper, which is also a 1 black, 1/1, that also has Death Touch. The other ability of this card is it has a morph ability, so I can tap 2, bring it into play, or sorry, I can tap 3, bring it into play as a 2/2, and then if I pay the morph, which is reveal a black card in my hand, this flips over and target opponent loses 2 life. Good ability, good card. Alright, so I've only got 2 of them there. 0/4 defender. I've already got walls, I've already got a good wall. I don't want to load myself down with a wall. Block, great, 1 black. It's actually not a bad card. I might actually think about it. Alright. I want to actually look a little bit more at my higher end. Mainly because at the moment I'm burying myself I'm burying myself with creatures right now, so that's a bit of a problem. So, um, this bat's a good bat though. It's a 1/2, one black, one colorless, flying, first strike, and haste. I might actually prioritize him over something else. Okay, 2/1 vampire. With lifelink, not exactly a bad ability. Got a cat. Four, five for 4. 2, 4. Senior Vampire is a fantastic card. But I do also want to take a look at my black abilities. Enchanted Creature. Enchanted Creature has +2/+2 and has 2 in a black and regenerate. Not a bad ability. Target creature gets -3 until end of turn. And I lose 3 life. Not really sure I like that. Enchanted creature has lifelink. Alright, but I actually think I want to do this guy. Alright, so this guy is a 1 black, 1 colorless. This is Eternal Thirst. It's an enchant creature. Enchanted creature has lifelink, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That is a good card. We like it. It'll go in. This is a 2/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink. Not bad. Enchant creature gets -2/-2. That's a permanent ability. I'm not really sure I like that. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Not sure I like. I like making people discard cards, but this is not a hand and/or library destruction deck. So look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 2 of them into your hand. Put the other 2 into your graveyard. That could be beneficial. Target creature -4/-4 until end of turn. Ow. That's a 5 cast. Very problematic. Yeah. Okay. I like the queen. She's expensive. She's got to go. Netcaster Spider is good. Giant Spider is also good, but I've only got 1 copy of it, and unless I've got two or 3 more, I don't really want to put it in there. I like the Blood Soak, but I think he's not going to go in. I like Singer Vampire, good solid card, and a good beat stick. These 2 1/1 Death Touch can go in place of that, so that'll be good. I'm still undecided on these two. So for the moment, they're going to go up there. They're going to go in the weight. All right. Blue, blue, blue. All right. So, yeah. It's funny when I grab like one exact red card, I'm like, that can go. That'll help separate that out. The best way really to do this is really one color at a time when you're looking for things. So, for the most part, the deck is dominantly green with a splash of black. Not necessarily a bad thing. Not even remotely a bad thing. Makes things a lot easier land base wise and a few other things. Alright. So what I really want to focus on is kind of a little bit more of the higher end, more expensive creatures. Or things that have like Intimidate. Intimidate's great because it means they've got to have a black creature. Or an artifact. Otherwise they can't block. But it's not always the best of options. 3/3 for 4, 1 and a white. Nope. If I was doing a black-white, I would actually more seriously consider it. You're a 1/4 for 4 with lifelink, and I don't have any boosts. Well, it's not entirely true. I do have things, but 2/3 for 4 outlast. Yeah. 4/5 for 4. Downside to this card is when it comes into play, I've got to put a -1/-1 on a creature I control. It would be better if it was a creature they controlled, but alright. 2/2 for 4. So slightly expensive. It is flying. But it does have a little bit of a lifelink ability, so not entirely bad. We could go with some vampires. I think we're going to do that. Yeah, I think we're going to do some vampires. So Shadow Clock Vampire is a 1 black and 4, so he's a 5 cast. If I pay 2 life, Shadow Clock Vampire gains flying until end of turn. So I can make him flying if I need to, but otherwise he's just a good solid 4/3 ground pounder. 3/5 for 5. Allows me to exile a card from a graveyard, which could actually be helpful. But 2/8 for 5. He's just more or less a beefy defender. 5/3 for 5. That by itself is actually pretty solid, but at this point, I'm needing to actually start to look at. I need to start looking at spells at this point. Because creature base wise and other things, I'm not doing too bad. So I've got 6 1-drop creatures, one of which provides me a land source, which is fantastic. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 2-drops, 3 of which provide me a land source. So if turn 1 goes the way that I'd like it to go, turn 1 is I drop a green land, tap it, I bring in Elven Mystic, which means on turn 2 I've got 3 land available. I drop another land, don't really care what it is, as far as whether it's black or green, it's just another land source. I drop it, I tap 2, leaving myself 1 open, which is good because it leaves me open for a Blossoming Defense, which is a fantastic card. Gives target creature +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn. So fantastic card. And leaves me a land open for dropping something if necessary. So I like that. That's good. I've also got. I could also turn to drop another land, tap 2, and drop a 0/5 defender in play. So I've got land source and a defender. So I've got different options that I can do. So I like it. I've got 2 cards with Death Touch. Which I think I've got more than 2 cards right now that have Death Touch. No, I've got 2 cards that have Death Touch, but I can give a card Death Touch. Okay. Let's look over our spells, shall we? Alright, so we've got a 1-cast enchantment. Target creature has -1, -1, and can't block. That in and of itself is actually not bad. I will think about that one. Next 1-drop is a sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a creature or planeswalker and deal with it. Not bad, and I've only got 1 of that, so I'm not sure I'm going to go with that. 1 and X sorcery. My artifacts help, so if I was going to add in artifacts. Target creature gets -X, -X until end of turn. So that's 1 and however much I pump into it. Yeah. Raise dead, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Not bad, but... Alright, next 1-caster black is until end of turn. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped. That's actually a really good ability. I might actually think about that. That's actually really, really good. Alright, so we've gotten into our 2 casts now. I don't really like that one. We've already got 4 copies of Eternal Thirst. Enchant creature gets -2, -2. Yeah, I could permanently drop a creature. Not terribly keen on that. 2-drop. Return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn. Not really dealing with the cycling or a discard deck, so that doesn't do me any good. The top 2 cards of your library into graveyard, then you need return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And yes! Yes! If you go hand or library destruction, you've kind of got to go with an all-in type strategy, and it doesn't always work. So product. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. And regenerate it. That's not bad, actually. Black creature gets -1, -1 until turn. Not bad. Now we're starting to get into the more expensive stuff. And honestly, I'm not really in the black. I'm not really liking anything. The other thing is I'm trying to keep the mana cost for the deck low because I've got some expensive stuff. I've got the vampires, and the vampires are a 5-caster. This is expensive. I've also got my 2 planeswalkers, and those are 7 casts. That's expensive. So I need to be doing things early game that kills their creatures, stops their creatures, does something so that I can stay alive long enough to get my bigger stuff out and just pound them with the bigger stuff. And yeah, so 4 1-drop the enchanted creature gets -1, -1, and can't block is a good deal. I don't put this on a 1/1 creature because it's stupid. You put this on a 1/1 creature, you kill it, doesn't do you any good. But say they've got a really big card that's like, a 6/5. You do this, it's now whatever. My brain doesn't want to do the math right now. But anyways, we'll do even numbers. So say it's a 5/5. You do this, it's now 4/4, and it can't block. Or can't block? Yeah, and it can't block. It's a good thing because it, 1, makes their creature smaller, and 2, it makes it so they can't actually block your stuff with it, which is a good thing. Doesn't stop them from pounding you with it, but makes it a little bit easier to deal with. So not a bad way to go. Alright, so that pretty much handles it as far as our black stuff goes. We want to look at our green stuff and see what we can do in green. Hopefully, I've got another 1 or 2 blossoming defenses, 1 or 2 more titanic growths. The Hunter's Ambush is a common from M15, so I should at least have I should hopefully be able to actually do something there. Okay. That's all red. Alright. I'm taking out to the end of the stack in the box. I'm doing it for a reason because the end of my stack here also has the special gold cards that have other things. So I might have some additional black green things or some things in there that um, that I wanna look at. But before I do anything else, I want to separate out my creatures and my spells so that I can take a look and make sure that there's no other green things that I want to do in here. So, these are 1/1 for 1 that generates, but not really fitting what I'm looking for. I don't really like the Wayfinder. He's honestly probably a better card than I think, but he's not a card that I really want to use for this deck. That's a bear. Hooded Hydra is a fantastic card. Double green and X, and the downside is the X because its power and toughness is equal to how many land you pump, but you've got to spend 2 green first in order to pump it. So not a bad card, just expensive. Although it does have a morph. And its morph ability is actually pretty solid because if you're able to morph it, it comes in to play, it flips it as a 5/5. And that by itself is pretty solid. But its morph cost is 5. So I'll think about the Hydra, but I'm not really sure it's going to fit. Heirs of the Wild is a great card. It's a 2/2 for 2, and it has Death Touch. It also has an ability that if I've got a creature in play with a power of 4 or higher, it gets +1/+1. So, not a bad card. I might think about it. 2/1 for 2. 3/1 for 2. Three for 3. Two, 3 for 3 with Outlast. Not entirely bad. 2/2. I remember this card. I used to lose this card a lot. Rootwalla. Rootwalla is a lizard. It's a 2/2 for 3. If you tap 1 in a green, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It's a great card. Very brutal. Very hard to deal with, actually. Shaman Spring is a 2/2 for 4. Enters the battlefield, I get to draw a card. I might actually do... Three for 4 with Outlast. Each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has reach. 3/2 for 4 Elf Druid. I'm not really doing an Elf / Druid deck, and I don't have the cards to make an Elf Druid deck work. But when it comes into play, I can search my deck for a basic land. It's actually not bad. Charging Rhino is a 4/4 for 5. Can't be blocked. Let's see here. And it cannot be blocked by more than one creature. This is a good card. It's a 4/4. What's nice about it is if they want to try and double block, which you can do, because when I attack, I'm not attacking a specific creature, I'm attacking the player. The player decides. So if the player wants to use 2 creatures to block 1 to kill it, they can. What's nice about this is this card states they can't do that. They can block 1 card that either A is going to die horribly, B, trade with it, or C, will kill it. But it's a 4/4. Little difficult to do that with, so I might want to consider it because of that. It's a 2/5 with reach. The morph abilities are not bad most of the time, but sometimes they're just blah. 4/5 for 6. If you tap 7, you can give it a +1/+1. Woohoo! No, that's way too damn expensive. A 6/6 for 6 though is not a bad. It's not a bad deal. And that's the Tusk Colossedon. 5/5 for 7. Convoke. It's got Trample. Not bad, but I think we're going to stick with what... Seven for 7. Trample. Play with the top card of your library revealed. That's annoying. I mean, in some ways that's beneficial, in other ways, because, I mean, basically if you're playing with the top card of your library revealed, which is your deck, basically every turn you're basically saying, all right, this is this top card is coming into play, or this is what I'm drawing. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be, especially if you're playing against a counter deck. They basically get to see what you're drawing, and then they can decide, ooh, I want to counter that. So, a little bit annoying in that regard, but... Alright, Blossoming Defense, I definitely want to see if I've got another copy of. It does not look like I do. So I've got some ways to destroy a creature with flying specifically. Back to Nature's destroying enchantment. Neutralize is destroy target artifact or enchantment. Good sideboard card, but destroy target artifact or enchantment. Oh, that's more Naturalize. It's just a different picture. Feed the Clan. 1 green, 1 colorless. You gain 5 life. I like that. Um, I gain 10 life if I've got a creature with a power of 4 or higher. I like that. That's going to keep me alive. Or potentially keep me alive. That's an enchant land. Awaken the Beast. It's a 3 cast enchantment. Or instant, 1 green, 2 colorless. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. Good card. That's actually really good. I might want to actually consider putting that into a different deck. Although I might think about it. I've got some things with Death Touch. That's destroying something, and now we're into forecasts. Alright, I definitely want to do that. Unfortunately, I do not have quite the selection of cards that I used to. I've said this on more than one occasion. So it's a little frustrating because there were some cards that I used to have that, for the concept that I'm trying to work with and build right now, would be absolutely fantastic. Because honestly, what I would really actually do with a green, with a black green, especially with this particular planeswalker, number one, I'd go to 3 of them. So I'd go to 3 of him. I would do at least 3 copies, but probably 4 copies of Titanic Growth, 3 or 4 copies of Giant Growth, 3 or 4 copies of Rancor. Rancor's a great card. It's like a 1-drop or 2-drop instant or enchantment that, no, instant that like does cool stuff. So I mean, this would not definitely not be a this would fit more probably into Type 2 or Legacy tournament terms, mainly because of some of the cards and things like that. Because in the green stuff, a lot of the green stuff I would be doing would be things like, I'd also be adding in things like Fog. I've already got one version of a Fog with the Hunter's Ambush. The Hunter's Ambush prevents all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. 1 green and 2. It's a 3 cast, but it'll stop every point of damage coming to me that turn. So running 4 of those, three or 4 of those with 3 or 4 Fogs, just those 2 cards alone would give me 6 to 8 ways to automatically stop any and all damage coming to me that turn. So unless it's a direct damage, it's not hitting, man. That is a good thing. That keeps you alive. The Titanic Growths are fantastic because it's 1 green, 1 colorless. Target creature gets +4/+4, so you make a creature big, which is cool. Giant Growth is 1 green. Target creature gets +3/+3. Again, really good. So that's where I would go with this deck. I would actually put this deck, I would change up pretty much all of the creatures into a black base as far as the creatures go. I would add in the bats that are 1 black, 1 colorless. They're 1/2 flyers with first strike and haste. I would add those in. There's another card, the rats, that are they're the 1/1s for 1s with death touch. those are the types of things I'd be doing. The creature base would be a dominantly black creature base. I would probably trade out the 3 Shadow Clock vampires for 3 Singer vampires, so there's a total of 4 Singers. Um, the Charging Rhino I really like. He's a 4/4, and he can only be blocked by 1 creature. Good deal. I like him a lot, so that's the main reason why he's going in there. The Roar is a great card because all creatures able to block a card must do so. So if I do this against like a card that has Death Touch on it, that means my one creature my 1/1 peon just completely killed their entire army. That's why I like this card. It's a great card. Partnered with Death Touch, things like this are fantastic. I love them to death. So that's a 3 cast, so that's going to go there. This is also a 3 cast, and this is the Awaken the Beast. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. This is really, really good because this is a way for me to either A, make one of my smaller creatures bigger and potentially keep them alive, which I like, or it's a way for me to get additional damage in when I need to. So it's a good card and a good way to go, and I like it because of that. Alright. That is... Oh, the other 2 caster, the Feed the Clan. 1 green, 1 colorless. I gain 5 life. If I've got a creature with power 4 or higher, of which I've got several, opposed to gaining 5 life, I gain 10 life. Fantastic card. I love it. The main thing at this point is I need to count how many total cards I've got selected to find out if I'm at 36 cards or higher. And then if I'm higher than 36, I need to see what I need to see what needs to be cut. Because again, the rule of thumb, or I should say general rule, and that's a rule that has served me very, very well for a very long time. And a friend of mine, my friend Dan, who plays active tournament, talked about it. Is that on average what you want to do is 36 cards with 24 land. Mathematically, this is what gives you the ideal balance in between land to card ratio. So that's why you want that particular balance. But I do want to take a minute and see what we've got in our multicolor stuff to see if we've got any solid green-black cards other than what I've already pulled. See if there might be something that I want to actually pull something else out and put it in its place. So, this is a green-black-white. Way more than I want to spend. I don't think I do. It's a blue-green. Green, black, white. White, red, blue. Yeah. No. There probably are. I just don't have them because again, it's kind of the bane of selling all of your cards at one point. I ended up selling all my cards because one, sadly, I needed the money. But two, I was in the process of like trying to get out of the game, and at this point I ended up regretting selling what I had because I had a fantastic collection, and yeah. So let us find out where we're at. I can almost guarantee we are going to need to trim. I can almost guarantee that. The dominant strategy for this deck, if I had the cards, again, would be dominant black creature base, as many of them as possible with Death Touch. Again, great. Death Touch is fantastic. I love Death Touch. So that even if it's a small creature, like a 1/1 with Death Touch can kill a 4/4 because it's got Death Touch. That Death Touch is what kills that creature. So a lot of times you swing with a 1/1, they've got a 4/4. They don't want to block with their 4/4 because even though my creature is technically smaller, the Death Touch is going to kill their creature. So they don't want to do that typically. But you do that enough times and eventually you kind of force them into blocking that card. And again, with something like with Roar of Challenge, all creatures able to block must do so. So you attack with a 1/1, they go, I've got 8 creatures, I'm going to kill you next turn. No, that 1/1 can get through. You go, alright, boom, 1 green, 2 colorless, drop it down. All creatures able to block must do so. Bye-bye. You just killed their entire thing, and then next turn, if you've got the creature base to do it, you swing. So, again, just little tricks, and these are things that a lot of it's timing and trying to make things work, and it's just it's a great game, but there's a lot of timing and strategy and things like that. But that's one of the reasons why I love the game. So, all right, so I know we've got 4 Elven Mystics. All right, so we've got 6 here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Yeah, we are perilously over. Come here, little girl. Alright, fine. Hello. Yes. Hey, that's enough, mister. The wife has just got home.
Hi,
everybody. And Hero is being a pain in the ass right now. Hey! Settle down, Beavis. Alright, so yeah, we're just finished off again into here. We're starving.
Hero, stop.
So,
Fuck you too, buddy.
Hi,
did you raise mommy? Did you raise your mommy?
We need to cut things, so... Alright, I like the card, but it needs to go.
Mommy is home for good puppy. She's not leaving it anymore.
Hero! You start up again, you're going in your kennel. Alright. So I know that I've got 6 here. I know that I've got 8 here. So 6. My brain doesn't want to do math right now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 21, 2, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31. Yeah, we're horrendously over, so we need to pull stuff. All right. I like the ability to gain life, but I want to try and focus on other things. I like the card. I like this that it gets +3/+3 and gains trample. The question is it better than my 2-cast enchantment? Where the creature gains lifelink. I like the lifelink because it keeps me alive, but again, when it comes to certain strategies, it really does come to a all-in strategy. Yes. I don't know. I didn't strip you, so I don't know. Alright, give me a minute, guys. Wouldn't happen if you put things back in the same place every time.
David, you were the one who made the bet. It was on my pillow. I just found it inside the crack between the wall and the bed.
Okay.
I know you're being playful, but fuck you. I'm tired. I don't have any patience. And I'm hungry. Just not a
Then eat stuff.
I'm about to. But I'd like to not knock shit over when I'm trying to make my dinner.
Okay. Wifey's a little grumpy. I don't blame her.
I'm in a show. And the show, we're in Hell Week. I have had no break since the start of the week. And last night, I have a collective maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep. So you'll have to pardon me if I'm a little grumpy. I am tired. I'm gonna make myself some dinner, and I'm gonna go to freaking bed. And pray that I don't wake up. And I love you.
Me too. Alright. So we've pulled some things. Basically what I've done is I've intentionally streamlined things. So the green cards, as far as the green cards have become dominantly pump. They've become either keep my shit alive or things like that. So again, I already know that we've got 6 here, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My brain is not wanting to do math right now. I know. I know how to fix this. I'm not a dice fiend. Nope, no dice fiends in this house. Alright, so I know that there is 6. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4.
D4 at immediate access. Am I going to have to? Think. Yep, that's what I think.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. One. I guess for prosperity's sake, we're gonna do that. 4. Two. All right. So 6 and 4 is 10. 7 and 5 is 13. So that's 23. I don't know an easier way to do this.
Yes. I got you out. Dang it.
All right, guys. I need to pick up a dog crap here real quick. All right. Five, 9, 10, 12. Okay. All right. So 23 and 12. 3 and 2 is 5 plus 1 is. So 3 and 2 is 5. 2 and 1 is 3. So 35. So I can add in one more card. Question is, what do I want to do? Do we want to add in a spider? Um, I think what I want to do is I want to add. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to 24. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go 24, 12. This is not an exact math as far as you always want 24 here and 12 here. Sometimes, depending on what you're doing, especially if you're doing like a blue counter deck, you want more counters and ways to stop things than you want creatures. Because you want to be able to counter, delay, do things, disrupt what they're doing, and things like that. So for blue, you don't necessarily want. You need creatures so that you can end the game. You need a win condition. So with blue, you need to be able to generate your win condition late game. So you want creatures, but a lot of times with blue, you go with a little bit higher end creatures because your early game is you're either stopping, disrupting, or doing things to throw things off, or you're doing other things. Now, a strategy that can work for blue and it's difficult to pull off with the right, even with the right cards, it is a difficult task, and that is to deck your opponent. Basically, if they can no longer draw, they automatically lose. It is a valid deck type. That being said, there are not a lot of cards to make it happen. If you span through the entire legacy of Magic, you could build a deck a decking deck. Try saying that 3 times fast. And yeah, so anyways, let's hunt for our land. We need to get land in the deck so that we can actually do shit. And go from there. All right. So, oh, I forgot. I've got 2 of those as well. So I actually need to pull a card. As much as I like Blossoming Defense, actually, I think I'm going to leave Blossoming Defense. We're going to pull a Vampire. That's what we're going to do. There we go. Okay. Okay. I completely forgot about the planeswalker there for a minute. I needed to fix that. All right. So we're good. So at this point, we need to get land. So let's get our land. So we need to count how many black sources we need and how many green sources we need. And each card does actually count individually. It's not a, oh, I only need one. I only need, no. So we've got 3. Well, we need 24 land, which would normally be a 12-12 split, basically. Or on average a 12-12 on average a 12-12 split to give you 24 land. That being said, we've got special land that give us both sources, so we do have to factor that in to our equation. Okay. So I need to grab lands that give me black and green. That's what I need. I need black and green. Black and green right there. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives me black and green. And then this gives me green black. Or black green. That just comes in the top. 2, 3, 4. Although I might just stick. Got 4, so that brings us to 18. So 9 and 9. Gives us white, black. I don't necessarily want something that's going to slow me down any further, so I think we're going to stay with these. That leaves me with 9 and 9, so 9 black and 9 forest. Although I could do 2 of these, which would bring it to 8 and 8. Nope, we're gonna stay with this. We'll do. So we need 9 and 9. So there's 1, 2. I actually want to try and keep to the same general style of land if I can. Got 2. 6, 7, 8. All right. Okay. And then I need to go grab some black land, but I want to make sure this here real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fantastic. Interesting, it's like I grabbed it right at the separation point. Alright. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Got 5 of that particular style. So I guess we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. All right, and there we go. That, guys, is pretty much what you do when you build a deck. So for some of you who are used to Magic and are used to building a deck and playing it, this was probably not any different than what you're used to. For those of you who've been playing but maybe going, I don't have a solid way of building a deck, I'm a little lost, things like that, I hope this was at least moderately helpful. The biggest thing when it comes to a deck is if at all possible, you want to try and put together a theme for the deck. In this particular case, I did not have enough cards to do it, but what I wanted to do was to do a black creature base that pretty much dominantly was Death Touch, and use green as my spell base. That's typically what, and that's, and again, this is a way of building a deck that I typically do things. I typically will use a dominant. I will use one color as the dominant creature color and the other color as my dominant spell color. It's a lot easier to build your deck when you do it in those terms, because then you're not trying to balance in between, all right, I've got so many black creatures and so many green creatures, and now I've got to balance in between black and green spells. Screw that shit. No. Theme the deck specifically. If you've got a couple of really cool, really solid green creatures that have death touch, and you're doing a death touch style deck, and they fit the deck and what you want to do, then put them in there. But just because they have death touch doesn't mean they'll fit the deck. So don't put them in there if they don't fit. Right now, there are things that I wanted to try and focus on a little bit. The Netcaster Spider is a good way for me to deal with flying creatures. Flying, if you don't have a way to deal with flying, is a bitch. But that being said, if you don't have a way to deal with flying, that's okay. You just got to know that you don't have a way of dealing with flying, and so you've got to find a way to either A, stop flying, or have your ground game strong enough that you can get the job done. So there's just because you don't have the ability doesn't mean you should intentionally try and find a way to do it. Just means be aware, is all that really means. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. At this point, I'm just going to sleeve up the deck and put it in a box. And I'm going to be hanging with my friend Dan tomorrow. We're going to be doing some test playing, and I'm going to be bringing these decks, or at least a couple of these decks, with me tomorrow so that he can take a look at them and let me know what he thinks, and then maybe we can do some trading or some things to actually max out the decks. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to reset one of the cameras here real quick, so give me a sec. All right, guys. Oh, I need to move the mic. All right, guys, I want to thank you very much for watching. It's been a blast actually doing this for you. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, again, I'm a bit rusty on the game, but I'll answer what I can. So anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to have a den time for you here shortly, and, well, maybe not shortly. The wife did get home, so I do want to spend a little time with her, and then we'll get into a den time. But anyways, until the next time. Or, well, actually, if you guys are new, don't forget to hit the follow button up top, along with the heart icon. And then other ways to support the channel is there's a donation link and a suggestion box down below. Until the next time, this is Panther022. Peace out, guys. I'll see you on the next stream.